team effort. One of the team members back, and he's here, he's West here, back and Cornell, reigning world champions, by the way, pairs, tied first with Auken Welland. You may recall that, David, last year at the World Bridge Games.
Yes.
In Poland, yeah.
Was there some sort of scoring readjustment at the last minute there? I remember something like that, do I?
Well, yes. So, Welland and Auken got the gold medal. They thought they had won, no problem. But there was an adjustment later when everyone had left. There was an adjustment. There was a scoring error. So, in fact, the New Zealanders had won the event. So what were they supposed to do now? They decided now to award both pairs gold medals. And I think that was a lovely solution. And yeah, I think it's also very important to stress here, David, and it was Roy Welland who identified and reported the error. That speaks volumes for his sportsmanship, doesn't it?
Well, in a world championship, that's absolutely marvellous, so congratulations to him.
Right, Ashley Bach, or Bach, if you like, if you're German, was interviewed last night. Was asked, who do you fear most of your opponents? And the answer was very quick: ourselves. Too many mistakes.
How true. Well, we were lucky enough to watch Lorenzini and Quentin yesterday, and they played extremely well. Particularly the North player Lorenzini had a couple of rather demanding play hands, boards 24 and 25 I think in the middle of the set, and landed both contracts, so we certainly know how good the French pair is.
We have a wonderful operator again, Margarita Chavaria. She is good. We've had her a few times, David, and now she is here again. First time the New Zealanders have made it to the knockouts in World Championships. They did last year. Mind Games, or whatever it was called, World Bridge Games, formerly known as the Olympiad.
The match will be played over 2 days, which is absolutely great. As this is the premier tournament in the world, then they don't want to have short matches of 32 or even 64 boards. It's a full 96 for the quarter-final and semi-final, and slightly more, maybe 128 for the final.
I have so many windows open here, David. I mean, on the internet. Can I ask you to get the card for New Zealand, Cornell and Bach?
Well, actually, I have a small problem that I mentioned to you the other day, that unless I maximise the BBO window, I can't see the little field we have to press to speak. So I can't get more than one window up. I can try it again, but if I reduce the window in size, the broadcasting button is going to vanish.
I see. So I think I can do it. Okay, let's see. Cornell decided to double here. I would have overcalled what the 2 clubs, I must confess. He thought he was too good for that. So he started with a double and intending to bid his clubs later. I don't think the hand is too good for 2 clubs, but it's a matter of style.
Right, my windows are behaving this morning, so I can get up a convention card. Which one was it you suggested?
The one for the Kiwis.
Okay. Well, the opening bids look absolutely straightforward. They won't cause any problems. Playing multi and weak 2s. And one club might be as little as a singleton. But all their opening 1 bids are 11 to 20.
So a fairly natural system. Good. I had a chat with one of the team members this morning, Georg Tislevold, from Norway. He moved to New Zealand in 2008, and I suggested that they warmed up with the haka, and David will now demonstrate how it's done. The haka. You know, he's been to the gym regularly, so he knows all about it. You know, no trouble at all. Right, David? You show the audience.
Right, I'm doing it now, but as there's no video camera for the learned commentators, no one can see me. What a shame, I'll just have to watch the bridge. So North converts the transfer because one of the uses for South's transfer is that he's got a weak hand with diamonds. Like any transfer bid, he could go on and make a second bid after showing the diamonds with the transfer. Now I think many players, probably Roland mentioned it, would have bid just 2 clubs on the East cards rather than doubling to get the suit in. I mean, it is 19 points, but if you discount the singleton King of Diamonds, I think 2 clubs is probably better. But I mean, that's just a question of system, what you do.
Yes. Now 3 no trumps was no success. And at the other table, what that was extremely aggressive. 3 diamonds is so much better. Well, in case you don't know what the haka is, let me explain. It's a traditional war cry, a war dance, performed by the Maori people of New Zealand and adopted primarily by the New Zealand Rugby Union team, known as the All Blacks.
Right, well I've just had a look at the bidding at the other table. 1 no trump from North, double, 3 diamonds preemptive, and as I see it, an inexplicable 3 no trumps from North really. It's got 3 low diamonds and 2 ace kings, and partner would have left the double in if he thought they were going to make 3 no trumps, wouldn't make a remark. What he's hoping for something like ace queen 10 to 6 or something, but I mean partner might well have passed 1 no trump doubled with that, expecting that declarer might be able to make a lot of tricks with such a diamond suit in dummy.
Yes, well, the double next door was alerted, so I'm not quite sure what it was. If it was showed a 1 suitor, well, the North, I think, would have to fear that would be clubs, and that there was a weak spot in the club suit. But we don't know what the double was in the other room.
Well, if it was a conventional double, then usually South's three diamonds would be strong. So maybe the North-South pair have launched their campaign in the semi-final with a bidding misunderstanding, but it's a pretty sad result. So a fairly simple board and 7 imps in the minus column. Never mind, 2 days of play still to go.
I mentioned All Blacks before, the New Zealand rugby union team. Now the bridge team, the Open Bridge team, has been christened the Bridge Blacks, and the women Bridge Ferns. Did you know that, David?
Well, I remember seeing the fern emblem on some sports shirts in the past. No, that's something that... Which sort of New Zealand Open team wears the fern emblem?
Oh, well, we have the Open team with the fern. There's a picture on my Facebook wall with the fern. I don't know if everyone is familiar with the fern, but it's you know, it's a green plant with long stems and leaves like feathers, no flowers. So it looks like a feather. It's called a fern. And the rugby team also wears the fern. The cricket team also.
So the East-West New Zealand pair are playing the familiar system of transfer bids facing one club. Remember that one club can be short, and they say it may be a singleton. I guess that must be on 4-4-4-1. So that's spreading like wildfire, that method. It's really superb. The idea is you open one club on all weak no trump hands as well as natural club bids, and your partner begins with a transfer, just like we do so often facing one no trump. Works really, really well. And even if North had not come in, East would then bid 2 spades on a minimum hand if he had 4-card support, as if it had gone a club of spade and you raised to 2 spades.
Exactly right. Well, nice agreement North-South have here, that North can bid 2 clubs to show diamonds and hearts, the red suit. Well, now Count Tang has a wonderful hand. Partner has diamonds and hearts. Ace of hearts must be a very good card, and 6 diamonds, headed by the Queen Jack.
Yes, that's not by any means a normal agreement that you will play 2 clubs to be artificial, particularly when one club may be short. A lot of people play here. A heart has shown spades, yes, so 2 clubs or 2 hearts would be natural. And if you've got the unbid suits, you can just begin with a double or maybe 2 no trumps. Or on some hands, if they haven't shown spades, you just begin by overcalling spades. It's quite useful to make natural bids at the 2 level in one of their bid suits. Just because West has responded on Jack to 4 hearts shouldn't stop you from bidding your Ace Queen 10 9 to 6 or something.
I was asked that question in a bidding contest sent to me by John Swanson. Exactly after this start, 1 club pass 1 heart. What should you do? You know, when you have hearts, it went 1 club double, one heart to show spades. What should you do now? Should you bid two hearts? Should you double to show hearts? You need an agreement. I think most people agree that one spade is a takeout double of spades. Do you think there was a no. Well, South just thought he was too good to bid any number of diamonds at this point, and he stalled with three spades. What can they make, David? 5 diamonds is down on a spade lead for sure. How about 4 spades east-west? Well, they can set up a club rough. But then again, they won't, because South will be on lead. He's not going to lead a club. Well,
South has a good hand, but the strength is mainly distributional with the 6-card support. And it's a little bit unusual to bid 3 spades on just a 7 count. On the other hand, he didn't want to gamble on how many diamonds he could bid and wanted to try and involve partner in the decision.
Yes. Short auction in the other room. East opened a mini no trump. Well, he decided to treat his hand as balanced. So he opened the weak no trump, and it went pass, and North balanced with 2 hearts. Probably hearts and a minor, and South obviously thought the partner had clubs, hearts and clubs, so he just passed 2 hearts. One could understand that.
I think I rather prefer 4 diamonds by South rather than 3 spades. 4 diamonds when you're red against white just about shows those values. I don't think that would be an underbid at all. Well, I'll risk the commentator's curse and say that South is surely going to bid 5 diamonds now, because he hasn't really shown his hand. He may have made partner think he's got more points than that and not given any hint. Yeah, bound to. I think he might have bid 4 diamonds in the first place, and then if partner made some penalty double of some contract, then he could stick it. Always best to try and describe your hand as early as possible, so you can then trust partner with any decisions that he makes later.
I don't think East-West is in a forcing situation here. So I don't think that the pass is forcing. Why would it be? I mean vulnerable opponents are normally serious when they bid game. It's not a forcing pass situation for me. People, tend to see forcing pass ghosts all over the place. And I can't understand why. It's very, very rare that a pass is forcing.
Well, it's best to have a simple rule and to stick to it. I mean, some people say if they've bid a vulnerable game, then pass is over. Non-vulnerable competition will be forcing. That's quite a...
Yes, I like this.
So a spade lead is going to leave declare with no chance whatsoever, basically.
Yeah, but the spade switch will come now. Not that East has to, but he could play the queen of clubs on this trick. He wants a spade switch. He chose the 9 instead, but it's obvious for West to switch to a spade anyway.
Whether or not 4 spades would have made is something South is going to find out only by the end of the hand. But there's no doubt that he was right to bid 5 diamonds. Occasionally, I mean, it would have been a make, and sometimes it would have been a good sacrifice against 4 spades making, and you can't afford to take a risk when you've got such a huge fit as that. For example, here they had a diamond trick to come because the opposing diamonds broke 1-1, but they might easily not have done, and they had a pretty reasonable 2-suit fit in the black suits, east-west. So you just can't afford to take risks when you know, even red against white, you know that you've got a big fit and they have, and it could possibly be even that dreaded horror, the double game swing.
No, East knows that partner has an even number of spades, so he can safely exit in spades. They lead 3rd and 5th, so back switch to the 6 of spades, followed with the 4. That shows an even number of spades, so 4. East knew that declarer had another spade.
And indeed, even if they weren't so confident because of their careful carding, it's not so likely that West would have bid 4 clubs if he had a 4-card raise from part.
So 5 imps back to New Zealand. We have quite a few spectators from New Zealand now. It is 9:23 p.m. in New Zealand, so most of them can watch the first set at least. Whether they will stay up all night to watch all of it remains to be seen.
Sure they would do if it was just a one-day match, but maybe they'll do that tomorrow if the match is still close.
Would you bid 2 or 3 clubs now, David? I would bid 3.
3 clubs,
I would
yeah.
bid 2. Yes.
Even the Doubleton Queen looks good. Single diamond, yes. Now 3 diamonds just to keep it going, and 3 no trumps probably, rather than 3 spades.
I agree. 3 diamonds is what I would bid. Most flexible bid, keeps all. No bump probe showing stoppers. features, some call it, call them.
Yes. Well, I was expecting South to bid 3 no trumps rather than 3 hearts. If you bid 3 hearts and then 3 no trumps, it shows some sort of doubt about your stopper. You're not going to win the contract, you don't really expect to, and you may help the opposing declarer to play his final contract.
We can do it from this table, obviously. We can click on BBO now, then view graph, and we'll see all.
Right. Well, the French are playing their what might be regarded as their strongest lineup with Combescure and Western Rombo East. North is a former Norwegian Tislevold, who's been in New Zealand for a long time, and Ware is south for New Zealand. He moved back in the days when he didn't reckon he was likely, perhaps, to get into the later stages of the Bermuda Bowl in a Norway team. Now here he finds that I don't think Norway didn't even qualify, like many other teams, like England. And he's in the Bermuda Bowl semi-final playing for New Zealand. Well, that's beyond his wildest dreams back in 2008, we can surmise. Quite a few years ago, for a brief moment, I almost was thinking of writing a book on defensive signalling with Tisleval. He sent me quite a large sample, which he translated into English, but back in those days Norway played an incredibly sort of simple signalling system, so he sent me about 60 pages, which were basically a lot of deals where attitude signals would work well. And of course that's only just a tiny part of signalling really, so nothing came of that project. Well, I remember they were so incredibly complicated they died a pretty quick death, didn't they? I forget the nationality of Vinya. Well, anyway, at least he got fame as his name is cemented into the history of the game. Shouldn't think so. It's not a standard balancing position. And one no trump is described as a semi-force and probably would be the same even if West was not a passed hand. So they must be playing 2 over 1, I guess. I can have a look in a moment, in which case one no trump can have a top of as much as a bad 12 count. So the opener will only pass it if he too has a close to minimum hand. Well, can he make 4 clubs and 2 spades? No, he's short of an. Well, maybe they didn't cover the jack of clubs, which would block the club suit. He goes jack, queen, ace on the second round, and now the clubs are blocked. Goodness me, is this the day in my life after 7 decades where I actually write up a one-no trump contract? I hope I don't have to. I hope we get many more splendors in the next 13 boards. Yes, often it is wrong to put the queen on, because in many situations declarer will just be trying to guess who's got the queen, and if you don't cover he may go up with the ace and finish the 10 on the next round. But here we know that West is fairly weak in terms of entries. Well, I agree with you completely. I mean, basically it's not something that should tax someone in a Bermuda Bowl semi-final, we would think, particularly as he maybe has seen a few more tricks than the guy at the other table. I don't know. Right. Well, here's a good point from Kibitzer. If spade finesse and jack of clubs is a 0% chance with the right defence, why not play a club to the jack instead? Then you make it when the queen to 3 is on side. Well, that seems like a very good point to me.
Club finesse now, cast the king of clubs, club to the ace, cast the last club, and hope that the king of spades is on side. And that is exactly what, you know.
Past hand, and declarer may be able to judge that the top hearts are split on the play he saw in hearts, that he might think there wasn't any room for North to hold the queen of clubs when he was going to later have to rely on him to have the king of spades as well. So that would have given him an 11 count, so the inference is not quite there.
So the real chance is a fender error that South has the queen of clubs and that he doesn't cover.
He knows by now that North had 5 diamonds to the queen and might have opened on such an 11 count, yes. But he wouldn't expect Quantin not to find the cover, I'm sure. Yes, and another point is that the last thing you can do is to pause for a second or two to think whether to cover, because then you just give away the position of the queen if declarer does have a two-way guess for some reason. So often you have to play very, very quickly when a jack suddenly appears, particularly from declarer's hand. And if you're caught unawares and haven't planned it, the best idea when a jack comes is usually to play low, because declarers don't usually lead on a cards unless they're hoping that they should be covered. On the sort of holding where the cover might gain, they would have generally tried to lead towards the honours. The beginner's advice, cover an honour with an honour, is quite often wrong, and better advice on balance would be do not cover an honour with an honour. But thing to remember is that whether you should cover or not is quite an advanced topic and a very difficult one with so many situations there. So you need to put in a fair amount of study, not just pick up some one-line piece of advice from your great aunt when you were learning the game at the age of 11.
Yeah, you know, when I teach beginners, well, I've seen that, you know, on numerous occasions. So you declare her as queen to 3 in the dummy and ace jack to 4 in her hand, right? So she advances the queen, and you know, next time they say, well, I'm not going to waste my king here. So she follows 4, and then declarer has 4 tricks in the suit.
Misplay by declarer, of course, because they should lead low to the jack and hope the king is doubleton. So the queen lead is only right if you want to have a cover, and that suggests the declarer in the hidden hand has got ace jack 10. Anyway, if declarer has ace jack 10, your king is probably dead anyway, so you've got nothing to lose by covering in the situation you mentioned. Quite a lot of people might choose to double if the king of spades was the low singleton as well. Of course the singleton king isn't much good, but it doesn't have a minus value. Yes. Yes, definitely. If you lead away from the heart or the diamond, on average that's going to cost you half a trick, particularly leading from a king, and particularly if they were playing in a game or a slam, because that increases the chances that the other side have ace and queen. So leading from 1 on or even a broken sequence like king jack to 4, very, very expensive in the long run. In fact, more dangerous to lead away from the king jack to 4, because you're paying a price for leading from the king and from leading away from the jack. For example, if declarer has queen 10 in the dummy and ace in hand, then he won't even have to guess which honour to play from dummy if you're leading from the king and the jack. But with touching honours, then it's much safer. In any case, in a suit contract, declarer may be roughing the third round of clubs.
You have a club looser no matter what. Let them get the trick now, and you have communication between the hands. If they want to switch to a spade, go ahead. It's into my ace queen 10 9.
If they're signalling count, say they're playing normal count, not reverse count, then they will know what cards they will play from 4 low spot cards. A good arrangement is to play the second and then the third, and that will nearly always allow your partner to tell whether you've got 2 or 4, because he can work out which card you would have played if you have all the outstanding clubs and had started with 4, and if it doesn't match with your agreement, then he knows you've got a doubleton. Here Lorenzini played for 4, which was probably quite difficult for partner to read. But in any case, we don't know whether they play attitude signals on a king or count signals. Quite common in the UK to play ace lead for attitude and king for count, whether you're leading it from king queen or ace king, particularly against no trumps.
For the cross ruff, you ruff hearts in your hand and you ruff clubs in the dummy. And that would likely give him 10 tricks there. Oh, I see the result in now from the other room. 10 tricks there. Cornell should be able to match that.
He's sort of, that's very good 14 count and close to a game try. But he may think that the 2 spade bid is slightly weaker than it might be without the double, or maybe they had another route to bid 2 hearts as a transfer to 2 spades if the hand was better. he will know for sure that West has only got 3 trumps. That's putting him off, because with 4 trumps he would have made some different bid. In the Venice Cup semi-final, I hear that the Sweden ladies did bid and make 4 spades against England for a 6-imp game. So suppose you had €50 in your pocket, Roland. Who would you back between the
I had to, otherwise they'd call me a traitor. I'm half Swedish. Didn't we discuss that yesterday, my upper half?
We did, and had a very good joke came in from our favourite German kibitzer. Excellent. Anyway, well, you can post the money to me now, because England are leading 14-6.
Bit premature, I would say.
Anyway, you've never revealed online whether you are in fact a betting man.
Oh, I am actually. Well, occasionally. Both my bets on Sunday came in. I had a bet on Chelsea against Tottenham. That was 3.85 here in Denmark.
Wow. Yes, the only time I bet is to bet against Southampton's opponents, because then at least if Southampton lose, I get a small compensation of the bet winning. But I was interested in gambling, but maybe that's just a question of watching gambling in casinos, which I really love, not to gamble myself. And of course Thelma, my wife, disapproves of gambling, and I wouldn't dare gamble if I knew that she was standing next to me.
I'm a little surprised here that Cornell chose this line. He was on his way to 10 tricks. I would have expected another half from dummy rather than a 10. Well, it is true, David, that I thought I had lost my bet in the 82nd minute when Tottenham equalised. But then we had Mr. Alonso. Well done. 2 goals. What a marvellous first goal, by the way. What a wonderful free kick, wasn't it?
Yes, as indeed was the first Southampton goal against West Ham. Splendid, particularly after 6 home games and no goals scored. To get a brilliant move like that, truly wonderful.
So, the multi, pretty popular in New Zealand, I would think. I have a pair from New Zealand among my students. They don't play the multi, they play week 2s. Ackle with week 2s, 3 week 2s. Ackle's still very popular in New Zealand. at least at club level. The same in England, really. It's the predominant system in English clubs.
They play the multi as showing 3 to 7 points, with 2 spades being a stronger opening, 8 to 11 with a 6-card suit. And North makes the familiar 2-spade response, saying that he's willing to go up to 3 hearts if partner has a heart suit. Now that's not, as you can see, guaranteeing a game try if partner has hearts, and therefore the opener should not rebid 4 hearts on a maximum with hearts, but use some conventional bid so they can still play just at the 3 level. What the French play, but if most doubles are weak 2, even if it started instead multi-pass 2 hearts or multi-pass 2 spades, you expect your partner to use Lebenssoll 2 no trumps if he has around about 0 to 7 points, not a very good hand, and if instead you bid 3 hearts directly, that would show more like 8 to 10. You can see if you don't play Lebenssoll and 3 hearts may be just showing your best suit on a 0 count, then you wouldn't have enough information to be attempting 3 no trumps on the North cards.
I'm looking at the auction in the... It started similarly. 2 diamonds past 2 spades double, and South bid 3 hearts to show values with a heart suit. Now North bid 3 spades. He didn't want to play 3 no trumps if partner didn't have a stopper as well. And poor South had to bid 4 diamonds now, and they ended up in 4 hearts.
Yes, here he has the advantage of knowing that East is pretty weak, 3 to 7 points, and he's already advertised 5 of those, so can have at most a queen outside. So he knows that there will be no entry to the East hand, and if he's got 6 cards, which he should have, then he can block out West if he chooses, just by winning the second. Then he will have 8 tricks, and would need to set up 1 extra trick somewhere, which he could probably do in hearts as it happens.
It's not obvious for West to unblock here. I don't think it makes a difference, but it's not obvious. He doesn't know where the 9 is.
Yes, well, probably the unblock wouldn't make much difference anyway, because the East could overtake if the Jack if necessary.
Now, it took a while for Buck to play a spade, and I assume it did at the table too. But that's obviously unauthorized information for East. I mean, yeah, breaking tempo suggests that partner has the Jack, but it took a while for him to follow with the 8. But he's not allowed to take advantage of that information.
No, but he can claim that if declarer had Ace Jack X, he would have won the first trick, and then he'd have had a second stopper.
But I'm told by someone who is watching that he played the 8 in tempo. All fine.
Right, declarer may take this because he doesn't really want a club switch, does he? He's probably maybe quite lucky he didn't get a club switch, in fact. So I think he should win this one and go for the hearts. It's still possible that East has the queen of hearts, and as we can see, the 10 is going to fall, so he may be able to make the 9 for his 9th trick.
Yes, yes, that's true. This is an opportunity. They needed to set up a club before the Clara could set up a heart to defeat it.
There we go. I was wondering if he was going to cash some diamonds first, but that wasn't likely to make much difference. He's going straight for the hearts, and now he knows that West has the ace of hearts from the bidding, from the description of East's multi. So his best and maybe only chance will be that the 10 is going to fall. It's too late, in fact, for them to switch to clubs, but you see he gets the benefit of not having cashed any diamonds. That West now has found it attractive to switch to the suit.
Yeah, there was no break in, coming back to the break in tempo by West. There was none, because after the lead, Norse closed the screen for 30 seconds after playing low from dummy quite quickly. He asked questions about what they lead from King Queen and whether that asked for unblock or whatever. So West just played the 8 smoothly.
Right, now it is not such a good chance that the 10 of hearts will fall. We can see it and he can't. So he has decided to play some diamonds. He doesn't need the diamonds for communication back to the north hand, because if the 10 falls he'll still have a heart in dummy.
Now it's not obvious really to get hearts right. Let's see. Now what if East was dealt 8-2 instead of 10-2? Wouldn't he have to advance the 9 then? Playing West for Ace Queen 10.
Well, he wouldn't have had time to do that if they'd switched to a club. I suppose that's possible.
No, but I mean now. Oh.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
10.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but it's no better to play for the 8. Him have 8x or 10x his level. Now he's ditched the 10, right? Okay. So, assuming this is going to make, we can say, as we did yesterday a couple of times, it's a thoroughly well-deserved swing for France, because they bid the hand much better than at the other table, and West had pretty good chance to beat this contract and didn't find it, so the imps are thoroughly deserved.
Hmm. He doesn't get much wrong, Laurence. saw yesterday 2 consecutive boards, David. We wrote about them today in the bulletin. 2 boards he played extremely well, and here was another one.
Yes, and I'm reminded by that to say that this France North-South pair were top of the Butler scorings during the round robin. But on this hand, Lorenzini just had it handed to him on a plate, really. He didn't have to do anything fancy. It's perfectly clear from their bidding that East had no entry, and that the only chance was to make a heart trick to bring the total to 9, so he just went through the motions, and the defence, well, it's true that he did well not to play on diamonds, because club switch might have been a little more awkward, but still would still have made it. As it happens, they needed to switch the clubs earlier. So a very interesting board.
Right, another multi. What's your view, David? I think we've had a debate about that on a few occasions, with 6-4 in the majors.
100% in agreement, and totally obvious here with such good spades, and the purpose of preempting is to cause problems for the other side, and I don't agree with people who find excuses not to preempt and make life easy for the other side. That's my general view, but on this hand, quite obvious. Presumably North will bid, East will bid 2 no trumps to inquire more about the hand, or he may just he could 4 hearts pass or correct, something like that, but he's nothing much lost by bidding 2 no trumps.
No. If you bid at the 4 level, you shouldn't really bid 4 hearts. You should bid 1 under to make the strong hand declarer.
Yeah,
1
well, you
under.
bid four clubs, and then he'll transfer into his suit.
So let's see what the agreement is after 2 no trumps.
In the early days of the multi, the responses were that you would bid 3 spades on a minimum, 3 diamonds on a better hand with spades, and 3 hearts and 3 clubs with hearts. But I know Roland prefers the method where you bid 3 clubs on all minimums. I think he'll explain it to you.
No, 3 clubs on all maximums. 3 clubs on all maximums. Yeah. 3 diamonds shows weak with hearts, and 3 hearts weak with spades. So this way you would always make the strong hand declarer.
Well, all I can say is it's just as well that you and I aren't playing in this semi-final. We might have had a misunderstanding.
Well, as a general rule, I think it's best to let the strong hand declare. Here, of course, if you have nothing to protect, you can make, you know, you can let your partner declare. That is a possibility if you have that agreement. But then again, you would maybe still would be a declarer with a strong hand. You have your left-hand opponent on lead. You know, he may lead away from something. You know, diamonds where you have ace-10 and partner has the queen. So I like this auction.
Yes, and another important consideration is that if you become declarer, you hide the bigger collection of honours, because they know roughly what the week 2 guy has got, not many points and a long suit, and they will then have to completely guess what you've got. Indeed, they may not even know whether you've got a very strong hand or you've bid it because you've got a distributional fit. Won't be so easy for them to defend apart from the 2 or 3 advantages you already named.
But textbooks warn you against multis with a 4-card major on the side. Well, I can understand that if you have six baby spades and ace, king, queen, jack of hearts. Then I would never, ever open a weak 2. But with a hand like that, I think 2 diamonds or 2 spades if you play weak 2s, you know, is just obvious. Strong 6-card suit, weakish 4-card suit.
If partner happens to have a heart fit, he'll probably play perfectly well in spades. Right, I'll go and save the board at the other table. Be back. There are a couple of boards ahead of us.
Right. North open in the other room. Not everyone would open an aceless balanced 11 count. But same happened here. Now East has to start with a double, obviously too strong.
Right, well I agree, it's perfectly obvious to start with a double, and that's why I don't necessarily agree that people say if you start with a double and then you bid 2 spades after this or that auction. People say, oh, it was too strong for a spade overcall, and they put you with a single suitor with ace, king, jack, 10 to 6. I mean, you often have to double just because you've got a lot of points, and if you subsequently bid your longer suit, that may be either that you've got a single suitor very strong, or that you just had 19 points and you had to bid that way. So East doubles again to show a lot of points. West makes the weakest bid he can, as he's got an absolutely awful hand. And now they stop in 2 spades, despite that wonderful hand that East has. Well, isn't that an example of good bidding for us all to enjoy? You can see that it's a general failing of lesser players to overbid good hands and underbid bad hands, particularly if you have got a pretty awful hand but your partner's bidding really strongly and you can trust him and you've got some important king in your hand, something like that. Then you can to give a raise if you've already shown a lot of rubbish. And if you've got a very good hand, you've got to bear in mind your partner might have nothing, particularly if the opponents are both bidding, and hand over, but then show some restraint with your final decision. So Declarer's got hardly any entries to dummy. Surely North would have played the 9, would he not? Jack 9 over the 10. Well, doesn't really matter because Declara can't get to the 10 of hearts, but can't believe that North played the Jack on the first string. A little bit tricky for North now because he knows that Declara can't take any finesses, and so he's got to decide what he can't play a heart. If he does play a heart, it will mean that Declara, of course, put in the 10 at trick 1, and the operator mistakenly showed us the 2. In that case, North would have a safe heart exit, and would certainly do that now because he doesn't want to guess which minus-suit king to lead away from. If Declara had the Queen of Diamonds instead of the Queen of Clubs, then leading a diamond would give him a finesse that he couldn't take himself. This is quite a long pause before we see North's actual play, and that maybe suggests that the operator has realized his mistake and is wondering how he can correct it, if at all, and he may give up and just flash up plus 110 on the screen. Ah, yes. I've just sent her a message to say, no problem. See, they showed the first trick as going 2 Jack of hearts, and that set up a master heart as far as BBO software was concerned that wasn't actually there. World Championship at least once. So the odds of them doing that would have been very good for Roland had he had any spare euros in his pocket and fancied them. That's just a remarkable and brilliant win by the New Zealand team. Well done.
Indeed, they came from behind. They had a terrific last set.
another
That's the
3 to
third
7 point
multi.
multi.
Yes, and it's a super max now. So let's see if they use this now to no trumps. If West bits to no trumps, but South may get in, of course.
Yeah, usual to double on the south hand while it's safe to do so. It's not likely they're going to play in diamonds, even if your diamonds aren't so long. But he is facing a passed hand, so it's not likely there's a game on, but nevertheless, still worth coming in. Now I think we already mentioned the options available to West. Usually 2-no trumps, the relay is still available.
Yeah,
The meaning of 3 clubs, I don't know.
Dangerous if you have no agreement. Normally a new suit over a multi would be forcing for one round. Own suit.
The thing is, it's unlikely really that 5 clubs will be better than 4 of partners major. You're expecting a 6-card suit for a vulnerable opening. So it really looks like 4 hearts or 4 spades. And despite the fact they're playing 3 to 7, it may still be there. I don't know. If partner's got ace jack to 6 and another, nothing much else. Well, you've got the double to suggest that the ace may be in front of the king of hearts. Yes. Yes.
From what it used to be, where my multi here is weak, and I have constructed weak 2. Yes, I like it. Don't know about David.
Allow you to split the range and use the 2 diamonds to show pretty weak and 2 hearts, 2 spades a bit better. So I think that's pretty good. One of the things you've got to do is to decide what you're going to use 2 diamonds for if you don't play the multi. You can use it as a weak 2 in diamonds, which is a bit of an ineffective preempt. In America, they've got a wonderful convention which Roland and I have mutually agreed never to mention online. The F convention is in very high up in Roland's approaching book of the top 10 worst conventions in the world, and they prefer to use that. Part of the reason they do is that the American bridge authorities have been so hostile to the multi over the years. They thought it was so tricky and would stop so many thousands of old age pensioners playing the game. But even in tournaments like this, and the top US tournaments, if you play the multi, you have to have some defense written out in paper that you can hand to your partners, because they don't think people will be able to handle it, which was an amazing decision made by heaven knows who, and has caused some merriment around the world every time we hear about it.
You're not allowed to play the multi. It's too difficult to defend against. They claim, and so be it. There's nothing you can do about it. I got that question, you know. Well, yeah. Now, I think this is inferior, that you have to bid 3 spades to show a maximum with spades. I think it's much better to play 3 clubs as any maximum, and partner can now ask for 3 diamonds. Which suit do you not have a partner? A little bit 3 hearts to show spades, and 3 spades to show hearts. There's a misunderstanding here. If 3 spades is really a max with spades, then West has an easy race. Did they have a misunderstanding here? No trumps. Probably played by West on a hard lead, and then it's goodbye to 3 no trumps. Very strange here, David. Remember board 7? Just a couple of boards ago, when West did 3 hearts to show spades, a minimum with spades, right? So how could he get 3 spades wrong now? And maybe he didn't, and said, well, even if partner has a maximum, it can be no more than 7, and maybe we don't have enough for game. But why ask in the first place? And if partner gives you a maximum, then you sign off. So something went terribly wrong for one of them, probably West.
I mean, if West has to cater for the off, there might be too many tricks to lose. but as well, we are influenced a little bit by knowing that the game is making, but I mean, if the ace of hearts was the other side, and if the trumps weren't running, which is entirely possible, he might have ace 10, 9 to 6, and the queen of diamonds, that would be a 6 count still, and you'd have losers all over the place. It's a little bit hard to evaluate that hand, where you're going to need some club tricks and draw the trumps and hope that you've still got an entry there. So there's a certain amount of bad luck, but let's hope they didn't have a misunderstanding, and then they'll think that the loss is entirely due to that.
And that would be his answer.
South passed, 2 no trumps relay 3 diamonds, which would have shown the spades and some strength or other. South now doubled for the lead, and West jumped to 4 spades, so presumably if they're playing a standard range at the other table, 3 diamonds showed a minimum, and West still went to game. So West here has taken quite a view.
In 2015, the Player of the Year, ACBL, do you remember? I think you wrote about that in the article as well. Moyo is not only a good bridge player, now listen to this, but also he came first in France in his final university exams in chemistry. And that is great, isn't it? Number 1 in France.
It's for the player who gets the most platinum points, and they're awarded only in the 4 major championships in the US. I think we did realise that it was just a measure of play in those 4 championships, but it wasn't a matter of opinion. He was the player who had the most platinum points and therefore got the award. Still, the question
Know that? They have many tropical diseases in Yorkshire. Didn't you know that?
Well, I know people are nervous about sitting down to play against him.
Now it's worth noting here that West didn't bother with Stayman. He could have, of course, bid Stayman to ask for a hard fit, but with a 4-3-3 hand, he decided to go for 3 no trumps, and I like that. Wrong? Sure, could be wrong. Well, Pardon could even have 5 hearts and a small doubleton of spades, where they can take 5 spade tricks against 3 no trumps.
Yes, the point to remember is where you have no honours is the most likely place for your partner to have honours, because there are more honours missing. And in any case, with all those losers, you might not find the plays too helpful in 4-4 heart fit, particularly if the suit breaks badly.
Yes, and not only that, you don't reveal anything about your hand. You know, even if a spade lead is killing, it's not a certainty that South will find it.
Clubs as puppet statement to ask for a 5-card major, but still you'd be giving away some information. So the rates to 3 no trumps is pretty normal, and might even be okay even on a 5-4 fit. Have 5 tricks ready to go and probably make 9 tricks anyway in the trumps. So what has the declarer made? He's made 2 spades, and he's got 3 diamonds and 3 clubs is 8. And in fact the ace of hearts is in the safe hand. So has to grit his teeth, and now relax.
Yes. Now board 9 created in the other semi-final, where Bulgaria took 11 tricks in 3 no trumps, and the American declarer went 1 down. What was that? Board 9.
This has been a distressing set for New Zealand, because not only have they moved into a 31 imp deficit, they know for sure that nearly all those imps are their fault, really, and having done so magnificently to qualify, even more magnificent to beat mighty Netherlands, they've just made a rather careless start to this match. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if they were exhausted. I mean, played for one afternoon would probably exhaust me nowadays, but it's a shame for them.
Now board 9, the Bulgarians defeated 3 no trumps. Again, the Americans were in the wrong spot, obviously. The lead was the Queen of Hearts, and the contract went down. At the other table they also selected 3 no trumps, but the lead was the 2 of spades from Jack 9-2, and now the contract made, obviously. So perhaps East didn't reveal that he had spades, which looks strange, I have to say.
Might have gone, well, even if he goes 2 diamonds past 3 no trumps, which seems very wild and woolly, North would guess that there were spades in the dummy holding 5 hearts. Have to take a look at that later.
So in the other
Well,
room, West had a no trump available in the 3rd seed. I don't know how strong it was for Rombaud and Comscure. Do we know, David? I don't think you have the card.
Well, no, it must be 10 to 12 anyway, if they stop there.
10 to 12, yeah.
See, there's a very good comment there from Ella Pattinson about Back and Cornell seeing a little bit annoyed with each other. So that's very good. Many thanks to her for that. Obviously watching on the video.
A good question. Here, now West is a passed hand. Should he have come in with a double on his 2nd turn? Although he doesn't know how strong opener is. One pass, 1 spade, 2 spades, double. Well, you're in the sandwich position. You know, your left-hand opponent is unlimited. When he opens 1 spade, you only have 3 hearts. No, I don't think I would get in. How about you, David?
Definitely not. No. Not much to be gained, and you should at least have 4 cards in the other major to make something like that. You're going to have to play at the 3 level, and your partner may have nothing. So, I mean, you could easily go for 800 if you come in on that. Right, if you take a look at the scorecard from the other table, the French East-West have just had a magnificent sequence of 11 juicy looking plus scores, having a wonderful opening session to the match. And indeed to Lorenzini and Quentin here, who've done nothing wrong that I can see. They're a 4-man steamroller at the moment.
Yes, they have 1 plus score after the other. Not here, though. Yes, they do. Of course they do. New Zealand going down in 5 clubs. Not a surprise. Right. The only surprise is that they only went 1 down. I mean, you do have 3 losers in the majors and the Queen of Clubs to lose. But of course, if they don't take that tricks, you can get a hard loser away on a diamond when you take the finesse. Not an easy lead. for East here, David, against 5 clubs. You don't want to lead away from kings, you don't want to lead away from an ace, and you don't really like to lead your singleton club. You know, partner may have queen third, you know, and they 9 clubs between them, you see. It's just a horrible situation for East to lead.
Yes, I was just going to say on board 11 where New Zealand lost 5 imps, that's just about the first one where they can say they did nothing wrong really, and it was just the very light opening on 11 points on the west hand that happened to give the other side 2 swings, so no fault there. But if they look back at all the other swings against them, they'll have something to feel a little sad about. Now, I think that even vulnerable against not, I think 5 clubs is not too much on the north hand. It's got the classic hallmarks of a preempt, that you're going to make loads of tricks if you choose trumps and hardly any if the other side choose trumps, and that is when you want to preempt. Do you think 5 clubs is too much with all those losers vulnerable against not?
I do. I would open 3 no trumps. That doesn't show us a minor, obviously, as you can imagine. It shows a broken minor.
Right. Well, I don't usually like that on an 8 card suit, because you may find that you need so little to make 5 clubs, and so we'll see. It could work out, but I don't like opening 3 no trumps on an 8 card suit usually.
But then again, you have a past right-hand opponent. Maybe you want to open 1 club. Well, I don't know. How many clubs would you bid next? Very difficult. I don't mind 5 clubs really. I don't think it's a serious overbid, but it is an overbid. Vulnerable against not, in my view. 5 loser, or 5 losers, or at least 4.5. We may see 5 clubs.
Well, it looks like there's been a delay at the table, doesn't it? They're not going to think that long about what to do on the south hand, though.
They were
Not
away.
that much to think about. They were
There
away,
was a
yeah,
break.
that's right.
Yeah, there was a break. It's fine.
I mean, the other thing is you might open 1 club and see what happens. You can always bid 5 clubs later if you want to, we'll see. So it's between 1 club, 3 no trumps, 4 clubs and 5 clubs available. Not
Yeah, or
particularly
if they have
interesting
3
decision.
no
It's just a
available.
gamble.
Yes. It's interesting. So North's open for 5 clubs in the other room. Did you say that Tistavol is North in the other room?
Indeed, yes, I hadn't seen that he'd opened 5 clubs, but I reckon that is easily the best bid myself. Right, 1 club, there we go.
Interesting. You tell us what the heart is. Maybe it shows exactly 4 hearts and a longer minor. In that case it will be on the card. Overcalls.
Yes,
Aha.
indeed. I've just read the convention and it says usually a 5-card suit is what it says.
Well, Ella tells us that it shows 5 spades or 4 hearts and 5 diamonds. Okay, so we were all right here. So he could have exactly 4 hearts and a longer diamond suit.
Right, absolutely nothing to that effect on their card. However, now West is going to raise the hearts.
Tina tells us that she would rebid 3 clubs. Well, Norse might do that. Perhaps that's an underbid now. The partner has values. You don't know that if you open 5 clubs, obviously. Now you know that he has values.
Right, I don't know where all this explanation of 1 heart is coming from. It's not on the convention card, but still. Okay, so it looks like 1 spade is catering for the case that partner will have spades and he'll have to bid on if he's got hearts and diamonds. That's a very strange method.
What will Norse do?
Very sensible.
You see, you don't really like to bid 3 clubs with 8 almost solid clubs. So he went for 5. Well, at least they can gain some if West doubles. Will he? No. Get the minimum here. They could get 500. Sorry, yes, 500. If West had doubled and East had found the heart lead, or the ace of spades followed by a heart. Now they can get a 200 and still gain some 3Ms.
Well, at the 5 level, East should be leading the king from ace-king to go to count signal, so ace will show ace without the king. Goodness me, and they play the 5 from that. How can it ever be right to be playing the 5 from Jack 5-3? Well, it must be that they're playing low attitude signals. Oh yeah, I see. They play reverse attitude and he plays the 5, yeah. 3 would encourage and 5 doesn't.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you drop the Jack then? I mean, it can't be a singleton because you have promised 3 or more spades.
Yeah, it's true, and if de Clare has got the king, which he should have, maybe it makes a difference if the king is singleton And that king falls and he doesn't want to throw the jack because queen 10 would be good.
So it's obviously a disaster if Cornell continues spades. Then the contract makes.
But the two red suit switches must look very, very dangerous from Cornell's point of view. So this is not an easy next move. Yes, that's because the spades are blocked. Right, well, although we can see that a heart switch would have done better, I think that was a very good defense by Cornell. He could see the ace-queen, and a lot of players would be nervous of switching to diamonds, but that heart switch was phenomenally dangerous with the queen in dummy. So well done to him, because I didn't like the position he was in after cashing the ace of spades and could easily have gone wrong.
Let me just say that Bettina Kau, well, our text comes Tina Kauko from Denmark, an Olympic champion, 1988 in Venice, 29 years ago. She was very young then. And in order, oh, David left.
No, I can hear you, sorry. I forgot to press start again. I just went to save the boards at the other table.
Yeah, I mentioned Bettina Kaukerup, that she was on the winning Danish team at the Olympics in Venice in 1988. And in order not to annoy David, I'm not going to mention
the other football event on in that year. Yes.
No. Which country they did it in the final?
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know. Water on Bridge, Roland.
No, it wasn't England, because there was no country, British country, England at the time. So it was Great Britain.
No problem. If we're going to compare draws of medals, then I'll back our ladies any day.
If you're desperate, you bid a slam here. You have to be desperate. Need a lot of things to be right. The double dummy, we would all be in six spades, of course. Just dreaming. I'll dream on.
Do you think you can make 12 tricks? You've got a lot of hearts to rough.
Well, yeah, but I could take a double finesse and clubs.
Diamonds are 3-3. Yeah, you only need one diamond rough, do you? Set up these time. You'd be doing well to bid game.
Bulgaria by 25 with 2 boards to score.
Hmm. Of course, we all know that Bulgaria have a bundle of very good players, and they do compete in some of the big tournaments in the UK. But what is the best they've ever done before? Do you have any idea of that?
No. I know they won some nationals in America. That was by the pair, not even on the team here. The pair considered the best pair in actually, Danailov and Stamatov. And I don't know why they're not on the team. By the way, they have a woman on the team, Damyanova, I think her name is. The only other team in the Bermuda Bowl with a woman on it was Germany, I believe.
So that's about 2 women out of 130 or something. It's amazing in a way.
Bulgaria won the silver medal twice in the European Championships, David.
Ah, I see. Well, those are serious medals. Right, thanks for that.
So more imps coming to France here. Ricardo won't take 12 tricks. He will take 10. And maybe he couldn't take 12 tricks anyway. After the King of Hearts, if South had switched to a diamond, that would have taken an entry away prematurely, so that declarer would be unable to take 12 tricks.
We didn't really press the point, but on board 12 I'm sure Bettina is right that West should have doubled with an ace and queen to 4 clubs after her partner had made some strong noises, doubled 5 clubs. I think that might have gone 2 down, mightn't it? They might have got 509s back.
I have to teach in 23 minutes, David, so I may have to leave just a wee bit early. Let's see. 3 boards to go.
Right, they finished at the other table. I'll go and Right, one way over. I've got all 16 boards saved at the other table for my report in tomorrow's bulletin. Excellent, so now I can relax and concentrate on these boards.
Well, look at four spades here. Four spades is quite interesting. You see, now, played by East, if it is played by East, and it was in the other room. Now, if you lead your singles and hearts, and you get a heart ruff, and then switch the club to partner's ace, and he plays another heart, but declare is in control. He could just ruff high. South is down to 2 trumps, so no real threat there. One heart shows spades, so it will be played by East. 2 spades, a minimum with 4 card support.
Well, should get to 4 spades, but we're a bit nervous after board 9.
I don't know what double would have been for North with one heart. I'm a little surprised that he didn't bid. I would get involved. If I can double to show hearts, I could do that. Or if I can't, maybe I can bid 2 hearts. I don't want to pass with that hand. Sorry.
Right, well, they're over the first hurdle anyway. So, let's see what happens now.
Well, he's going to make it. It will be Jack of hearts to the ace and the 3 of hearts back. For South to ruff 3 of hearts, a suit preference signal. It won't be the 3 of hearts. It would be much. Yes, sure. It would be the 3 of hearts, asking partner for a club switch.
Now, it looks like this is going to make, just because of that 10-9 of hearts, which
Is a clear suit preference signal. Clubs partner. I don't have the ace of diamonds. But of course, Cantan can see that that would only give them 3 tricks, because surely Declarer will ruff with the ace of spades when a 3rd heart is played by North. He also knows that partner's Queen of Hearts is finessable, rough finesse, so you really can't see a defense here when partner doesn't have the ace of diamonds. I mean, ace of clubs won't help much. It would have been much better if he had the ace of diamonds, so that they could take the 2 diamond tricks. But North has denied that.
yes, I mean, he needed those 10-9 of hearts, otherwise it was going to be too tricky, because South was able to over-ruff in hearts, so he's got a ruff high and draw trumps. And then need the 10, well, it's a marked ruffing finesse as well, so no problem. Okay, so there was a little bit to enjoy there, and we're told the play away at the other table board. Well, the written commentators have been suggesting something about North ducking the Jack of Hearts lead, but it doesn't work as far as Jib is telling us. On the my results side, says it's cold on Jack of Hearts lead.
Software doesn't like me. I was kicked out. Here I am back. And what do we have here? 3-0. Common defense to the multi here is doubled by West, either a weakish no trump or any 17 plus hand.
Well, they opened with a straight weak 2 at the other table. West bid 3 hearts, which is usually played as asking for a heart stopper for 3 no trumps. Commonly played when you have one long minor, but here North has got both. East did bid 3 no trumps, and then West bid 4 no trumps, which is quite a lot of bidding there. And that was passed out.
How about 6 diamonds, David? How do you fancy 6 diamonds? Isn't that a pretty good contract? Well, maybe not great, but it is playable, especially played by East, where hearts are protected. I wouldn't bid 3 diamonds. I don't think it's a good bid. It's constructive, non-forcing. I'm too good for that.
Pretty difficult though, isn't it? With those holdings in the majors, you don't know what suit South has got. There's although it's normally best to get in, maybe on this occasion you should pass and then see what they do.
Yeah.
Now I think West can easily pass. Partner must have stoppers in both majors.
Well, sure.
I mean, you shouldn't go force a minor suit game really, because they might go ace of hearts, heart rough for all you know.
Well, I did suggest a double by West instead of 3 diamonds. I think it's so much better. How would the auction be if you double? The auction would be 2 diamonds, double, probably redouble by North. It's your major partner.
Yeah, so East can pass then, so it gets clarified to 2 hearts.
Yes.
But still, it's not West to follow up. Suppose he can bid 3 diamonds preceded by a double. That shows a pretty good hand.
Oh yeah, that's a 17 plus hand. But you don't really want to bid. You don't want to play the hand. If partner has the ace of hearts, how can we make East declarer in a diamond contract? Because 6 diamonds can't make with West as declarer.
Well, over 3 diamonds, your partner would bid 3 hearts maybe. Well, 5 diamonds is okay, isn't
Oh yes, yes, but it's just that you know that you have no slam on now because West is declarer and knows what to lead. Obviously, partner has hearts, not spades.
it? Well, I mean, is it a magnificent slam even if East plays it?
No, didn't say that. It
No.
was
Well, I mean, is it a good
playable
slam? You've got to hope to get, what, 2 hearts away on the clubs, that sort of thing.
hmm You need it to happen in clubs. That's true. So they did pretty well after this start. I mean, then 5 diamonds is top spot. If you bypass 3 no trumps, obviously.
Four no trumps got the 10 of spades lead, so that gave declarer quite a bit of time. Well, they stopped in 5 diamonds, but that was because West didn't know about the ace of hearts.
After the first set in the Venice Cup, England leads by 30 against Sweden. That would please David.
Well, it certainly does, yeah. Well played. So declarer is trusting South not to have a 7-card suit.
Well, what did it gain to duck this? I wonder. I mean, he has no useful discard on the ace of hearts.
Well, might help him if the clubs are bad.
Michael Rosenberg went 1 down here in 3 no trumps as East. We can't know why. Let me see what it was.
Probably a heart lead. So would expect him to make on a heart lead, wouldn't you?
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong board. It was for 16. We haven't seen 16 yet. No, it's board 16. I mean, they played all boards. And we haven't seen 16 yet, so we don't know what that's all about. I'll have to leave you now. I will be back later today, certainly for the third set, maybe also for some of the second. Not sure. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks again, Roland. I'll take this opportunity to thank very much Margareta Chevrolier, our excellent view graph operator. Thanks to her, we've been able to enjoy this very important match, and for me to get my first New Zealand team that have worked miracles, really. Absolutely fantastic. Maybe they get an easy ride to get into the Bermuda Bowl graphically, but my word, they've certainly taken advantage of it. Qualified by a whisker and then beat a very strong Netherlands team, so well done to them. Anyway, thanks again to the view graph operator, thanks again to all you for turning up in such vast hordes on a weekday morning. Thanks to Roland, my co-commentator, always enjoyable working with him. Many thanks to BBO for adding this wonderful platform, giving us the chance to see exactly what's going on in the World Championship as it happens. Through the miracle of the internet, through the miracle of BBO. Right, this is the last ball of the first set of 6. 6 16s when I was at school used to be 96. I don't know if that's changed recently. So on this board with the hearts bare, England and Sweden both managed to bid and make 4 spades. Well done indeed. 3 no trumps with the hearts bare. Now let's see what happens. Having praised Lorenzini to the hilt yesterday and today, yep, there he goes, he finds the heart lead, well done. Normal to perhaps to lead a major. And North Kappa plus score here, and East-West will diagnose the winning Moysian fit at the moment. Difficult for them. It'll be very interesting to look at the England and Sweden successful auctions to see how they found 4 spades. Maybe they raised to 2 spades, a diamond, a spade, 2 spades. How about get you that? So that's 1 up for raising on 3 spades, which France ever does. It's against their culture. You might conceivably start using check back. Yeah, I'm told that it started with a club, a heart, which was a transfer to spades. West would have bid a spade then. Then they were able to use check back. Well, anyway, whatever the auction was, both women's teams did wonderfully